Hey everyone, my name is Mark Focarile. I'm a professional musician and music educator. I want to thank Pomp High School for having me back again for Career Day. I am a former graduate of Pomp High School as well as a graduate of Western Connecticut State University. I was a music education major there. Like I said, I'm a professional musician, and that involves having a lot of different hats. My main love and main gig is a keyboardist for a rock band called Mile Marker Zero. It's a band that actually started at Pomperaug High School. Some of my bandmates I went to high school with, and we started the band there, and then it grew as we went to Western Connecticut and were college students there. So we started at our high school, and we've gone on to not only have our music in video games, such as the NASCAR Heat game for PlayStation and Xbox. We've gone on to play everywhere from beginning in the parking lot of the Southbury Dunkin' Donuts all the way up to the Sarasota Opera House in Sarasota, Florida, as part of Rozfest, which is one of the biggest festivals in our genre. We're a progressive rock band. Our most recent album is a live album called Live and Confined. That we recorded during one of our virtual shows over the past year. Obviously, we haven't been able to go out and play regular shows for some time now. So we recorded that in our one of the virtual shows that we did that was streamed all over the world. We've had our music on Sirius XM radio. We've been able to go play all over the Northeast, as well as have our music heard internationally. And we're in the midst of writing a new album right now. Um, Unfortunately, that doesn't pay all of my bills, as much work as I put into it. So part of being a musician is wearing different hats. So I have started my own music company for piano lessons and transcriptions and virtual sessions called Innate Music. So I teach lessons several days a week. I also work for Western Connecticut State University as a vocal coach in the musical theater department, for Naugatuck Valley Community College as an accompanist. The Naugatuck Public Schools, particularly Naugatuck High School, as an accompanist. Meriden Public Schools, and any other school district that needs an accompanist. I'm a music director at a church. I do a lot of musical theater, pit jobs, and will fill in different cover bands and wedding bands. Um, so the first question that was posed to us was, how and why did you choose this career? Well, I always feel like not that it chose me, but I can think of the day when I was in sixth grade as a 12-year-old, and I was really bored in science class, and I was thinking about a concert video that I was watching the night before, and it just kind of hit me in that aha moment of, this is what I wanted to do. I went to my first concert when I was probably 13 or 14 and was just completely taken in and just blown away by just the whole power and the feeling that I got from hearing live music, especially in an arena or an amphitheater setting. And I knew that I wanted to be on stage or performing music and creating music in some kind of way. And it's been the one thing that has really brought me fulfillment and happiness in my work job, whether it's been just strict performing or it's been writing or teaching or whatnot. Um, so the typical day in my life can be really different depending on the day that it is. I have a family. I'm a father of three young boys, so it usually involves me getting up with them and getting them off to school and their responsibilities. But then it depends on what job I have that day. If it's teaching lessons in the afternoon, I could be going to a rehearsal or a coaching session at one of the colleges. It could be performing either in a rock club or in a musical theater pit. It could be playing jazz at a restaurant. It kind of depends. So usually during the day, I come to my studio and I'm practicing or writing or doing virtual sessions, or getting prepared for a lesson or a lecture I might be doing. And then most of my work does tend to be in the afternoon or in the evening, but again, it kind of depends on the day. Um, the most rewarding aspect of my job is I get to do what I love, and I think that's really important. No matter what you choose to do, it needs to be something that you love. As responsibilities start piling on, it's going to be harder and harder for you to do, make choices for yourself and do the things that you want to do, when you need to, make a living to support, especially, other people who are, in your family. So, but choosing something that you love to do makes that a lot easier. Even the hardest day doing music is still better, doing, some of the whatever jobs I had when I was in high school. Um, and also getting to connect with people. When I hear from people who've heard our music, on the other side of the world, who write and tell you that, they really love what you do, or they saw you somewhere, or they heard your music somewhere, or they come up to you after a show and tell you how much, their music really, how into it they were, and inspired them or whatever. That's definitely the most rewarding part of it. I was given the opportunity to be able to create music and make an impact on people in whatever small way possible. And I know what an impact it had on me hearing my heroes play music. So to have any kind of impact like that is great. And then also know that I can support my family and be a good example for my kids doing something that I love to do. I think it's important for them to know that they should find something that they love to do too, whatever that is. Definitely the least rewarding aspect of it is the time that I can be away from my family. Working odd hours, different days, can be tough. Thankfully I have a wife who's known me since music school and is very supportive of me, which is hard because not everybody would be that supportive, and that's great. But I definitely can be taken away from that and be working during important times, and so that's definitely the least rewarding. Also, the fact that a lot of times you can have a bad gig, driving home at 3:30 in the morning after playing 4 or 5 people, when I drove 2 hours to New Jersey and it's pouring rain and I'm exhausted. You think, well, this isn't the dream that I had, but so that's definitely hard and definitely very humbling. But you wake up the next day and you still want to do it, and usually I do. So I know that's what I want to do, and that kind of helps balance it out. I think it's important to know as a musician that gone are the days that you're just the guy in a band, or you're a guy who just or somebody who is just going to be a performer. Especially early on, you're going to have to be able to do a lot of things on your own. You're going to have to be your own booking agent. You're going to have to be your own manager, your own transportation, your own engineer, all producer, all of that stuff. So I think it's really important to not only work on the craft of whatever your instrument or your voice is, um, or your songwriting ability, but also understand the production side of things, the social media side of things, what it's like to book a gig, how to be your own manager, all that different stuff. And it's really important. There's so many resources now, whether it's books or interviews or message, social media boards, anything like that, where you can find out this information and pick the brain of people who've done it before. It's really important to do that until you get to a point where you can't handle it anymore. In fact, most booking agents and managers won't take you on until there's a certain amount of percentage that they can make. So they want to see that you've done it on your own. And there's more chances. It's easier than ever to get your music on streaming services or YouTube or anything like that. So work on your craft and get it out there and start putting yourself out there and constantly getting better at what you do. It's never too early to start writing songs. You're probably going to wear your influences on your sleeve at the beginning, and that's okay. And the better that you get, you're going to find your own voice and you're going to find what works for you. There's not one set in stone way to make it in the music industry, and you don't have to just be a performer. You can work on the publishing side of things. You can work in publicity. You can work as a booking agent. You can work as a composer. There's a lot of writing for TV and film. You can be a music educator. I went to school for music education, and some people, that's really important job in inspiring the next generation of musicians, and I get to still do that. With my piano students, understanding that you learn a lot of communication and a lot of different teaching skills that way. Being a music major in college allowed me to also build my first set of contacts, especially in the arts and in music. A lot of what you do is going to be based on the relationships that you have. So that's kind of the first place that you can start building those relationships. There are people that I went to school with that have gone on to be great performers and composers, and I still keep in touch with them, and they need somebody, and they might, so you never know who you're going to be in school with, and who might need something in the future. Stay professional, no matter what, and be open to criticism as well. Have a strong believe in what you do and have a strong backbone, but also take the advice of people who've been there before, and people who might help you be able to get to that next step. Um, As far as opportunities, like I said, one there, it is, it is a little bit harder. The traditional way of selling music and distributing music has obviously changed a lot. The way to do that, it went from the traditional way from like when I was growing up to what it is now. But there are a lot of opportunities, whether it's in video games or on soundtracks, or placements of your music. That's a way that you can get your music out there. It's easier than ever, like I said, to get your music onto streaming services and have your music be heard. The downfall of that is, of course, that there's so many people who can do it, and it's really hard um, to have your voice be heard. So you have to be willing to understand that and understand that it might take a while to make that kind of connection with people, but stay at it, work on your craft, and continue to push forward. And keep making music, keep making content. Find that niche audience. One mistake that we made early on, that I wish I knew now, was to not just kind of just throw it out there and see what sticks. Find the audience that you connect with. Sometimes something that's really important that we found is, people who like the kind of music or listen to the kind of music that we make may also have similar interests in TV shows or video games or fashion or something like that. And you can connect with people that way. Starting from that core audience and building from there will actually help you expand better than just throwing it all out there. Because if you think about the artists that you listen to, um, it was probably told to you most likely from somebody that you know and said, hey, check out this artist or check out this band. So having them kind of help you build that, will probably be more successful. Um, Something else I wish I knew earlier on was to not just put your trust into one or two people. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Um, you know, be open and be willing to work with a lot of people, but also, be on guard, for all the traditional stuff you hear about the music industry. Read, if you have a contract, read through it. Make sure you ask other opinions. You can get legal advice if you need to, if it's a contract. But also, check in on people and say, hey, how's this going along? What's the update with this? And keep people honest with that. You don't have to be professional about it. You don't have to be hard nosed about it, but, at least in the beginning. But, hold people accountable for what, they said they were going to do. And as well be accountable for yourself. One thing that can be hard in music is, it's not the easiest thing to get into and make a living. So you're going to have people that say, well, when are you going to get a real job? I heard people say that to me, or how are you going to make a living? Well, there's if everybody went by that, then there would be no, major artists. There would be no big bands. They all took a chance. It is taking a chance. You're going to not be in the greatest of circumstances, making the most money. So, but that's okay. If that's what you love to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But so take it with a grain of salt, but just make sure you always have your nose down and you know what your goals are. Maybe make short-term goals as well as long-term goals, and define what that means for you, what that term of success is, and you'll find what works for you. I mean, that would be kind of one of my biggest advices. You know, make those short-term goals, make long-term goals as well, and really work and find out who you are as an artist and what that amount of success means to you. Um, as far as different related careers, I talked about how you're gonna have to intermingle between different parts of the industry, and that's okay. I think also at the same time, it's gonna allow you to meet new people, um, and you never know where you're gonna get a call from. I mean, the opportunity to be in that video game came from a friend from high school who just happened to know somebody who was looking for music, and that's how I was able to get that job, playing festivals because someone heard us play at such and such gig. So if you have the opportunity to play in front of an artist, especially in the beginning, take as many things that you can and just do them. I mean, in the beginning, we played every bar, anything you can think of, just to build your resume and think about, okay, what kind of experiences is giving you, and it'll also usually open up opportunities as well. I know for me that being a musician is something that I've always wanted to do, and uh, dipping into the other aspects of it, my college experience as a music education major allows me now to do different kinds of work, whether it's playing classical music or jazz music or musical theater. I have those relationships in those other areas. Um, and also, it kind of gave me a nice solid background in different ways to teach so I can communicate with people. Everybody learns in different ways, so it's important to know different ways to present music. Um, and it also gives me a job. You can choose to do jobs that are outside of music too. There's lots of people who did it, and I did it early on too. I worked in a coffee house, and I worked at a restaurant. So there's nothing wrong with that too. The more that you can stay in your career, definitely will make you happier and make it easier. Um, Take a look at another question or two. I don't think you need balancing personal life and professional life can be tough. I don't think you necessarily have to stay in one spot. If you want to be an actor, then you might need to go to New York or LA, but there's music hubs like Nashville and New York and Los Angeles and stuff. But I think as long as you are willing to go to a place, where there's going to be a gig, of course, being in those places there's more opportunities that might make it easier, but you don't necessarily have to do it. I think the main thing is that you need to find who you are as an artist, find who your audience, and build that connection. And the biggest thing is just working on your craft, whether it's playing your instrument, being a songwriter, being a producer, any of those things. Take in as much advice as you can get. Watch interviews with your favorite artists or producers and or songwriters, and see what their craft is, and just try to continue to build your build build your voice as an artist. There's so many resources now that you can find. So seek those out, and always be willing to get better. Don't rest on what you've done so far, even if you do get to a point where you're having success. Always strive to progress and be better, but have confidence in yourself too, and always be willing to take professional criticism. There's going to be people along the way that are may not be the nicest and most professional, and that's fine. But the people that I know who have made it the farthest are people who are respectful and professional and open-minded, and they know what they want, and they know how to work with other people. So I hope this gave you a little bit of a glimpse into what a life as a professional musician is. There's a lot of different, because I'm all over the place, it's a lot of things to cover. But the biggest thing is that if I can leave you with one thing, is just whatever you're going to choose to be, whether it's in music or it's going to be in sports or in marketing or whatever job you choose, make sure it's something that you love to do. At the end of the day, the worst thing is to be stuck in something in a life that you hate and you wish was not, what it was, or you wish was something different. So I think that's probably one of the most, if you want to have some kind of happiness, and there's a lot of other aspects to it too, but I think that goes a long way. So thanks for taking the time to listen, and I wish you all the best of luck.